Hey everyone and welcome. So whenever you log onto your computer, you type in a username, right? But here's a little secret. Behind the scenes, your computer doesn't really care about that name. Not at all. It actually knows you by something else entirely, a kind of secret digital ID. So what on earth is this thing? Let's pull back the curtain. Think about it. You can change your username from J. Smith to John the Great in, what, a few seconds? But if that name is so easy to change, how does your computer possibly keep track of all your files and permissions permanently? What is its unchangeable permanent record of you?
Well, the answer lies in what we can basically think of as your true digital fingerprint. It's an identifier that is totally, completely, and unchangeably unique to your account. And here it is. It's called the Security Identifier, or just SID for short. Now, this isn't just some random technical name. It is the absolute core of your identity as far as the Windows operating system is concerned. Pretty much everything you are allowed to do is tied directly to this one number.
Okay, so what exactly is this super important identifier? Let's pop the hood and really see why it's so critical to your computer's security.
At its heart, a SID is just a unique string of numbers that the operating system uses to identify something it can authenticate. And that something, what the system calls a security principal, that's just a fancy term for anything that needs a security clearance. You know, it could be a person, like you, a specific computer, or even a whole group of users.
So here's what you really need to get. A SID is generated the exact moment an account is created. It's handed out by a trusted authority, like a Windows domain controller, which you can think of as the head bouncer for the entire network, and then it's immediately stored away in a secure database. And listen, this isn't just some minor feature, it's the absolute foundation of the entire Windows security model.
Now, when you first lay eyes on a SID, it looks like a hopelessly random jumble of numbers. I mean, it looks like a cat walked across the keyboard. But it actually has a very specific, very logical structure. So let's decode it.
Here's a pretty typical example. Yeah, I know, it's not exactly easy on the eyes. But believe it or not, every single part of this long string has a distinct meaning. And once you see it, it's not so intimidating.
The easiest way is to think of it like a phone number. That first part, the S1, that's just the version number, kind of like a format code. The next number, 5, tells you who issued it. Then you've got that really long middle section. That's basically the area code for the entire domain. And that very last part, the 512, that's the relative ID, or RID. That's your personal extension. It's the number that makes you, specifically you, unique within that domain. See? Not so bad.
Okay, makes sense so far? We know what a SID is, we know how it's built, but how does Windows actually use it to control what you can and can't do? Let's see it in action. The real magic happens the moment you log in. The system doesn't just check your password, it generates something called an access token. And this token is basically your temporary security pass for your entire session.
Now get this. This is what makes the token so powerful. It doesn't just contain your personal SID. It's a whole bundle that includes the SID for every single group you're a part of. Administrators, users, the marketing team, you name it. And on top of that, it lists all your specific user rights, like whether you can shut down the computer or change the system clock. So this token is now your passport. Every time you try to open a file or access a printer, Windows shows this token. The system then looks at the SIDs in your token and compares them to the list of SIDs allowed to access that thing. It's exactly like a bouncer at a club checking your ID against the VIP list. If there's a match, you're in. If not, sorry, access denied.
Now, this next part is absolutely crucial to understand about SIDs. Their permanence. This isn't a temporary ID. We're talking for life permanent.
This brings us to a fundamental rule of the system. A SID is used once, and only once. When an account gets deleted, its SID is retired forever. This prevents a total security nightmare. Imagine if a new employee's account accidentally inherited all the permissions and access of someone who left the company years ago. Yeah, it's a critical security feature.
But this raises a really interesting and common question. If SIDs are tied to a specific domain, what happens when an employee moves from, let's say, the sales domain to the engineering one? Do they just lose access to all their old files? Does everything just break?
Of course not. That would be chaos. The system has this very clever solution called SID history. You can think of it as a way to carry the ghost of your old identity with you, making sure your permissions follow you wherever you go.
So here's how it works. When you move, you get a brand new SID for your new domain. But, and this is the key, your old SID doesn't just vanish, it gets copied into a special attribute called SID history. Now, when you log in, your access token includes your shiny new SID plus all the old SIDs from your history. And just like that, you can still access all your old stuff seamlessly. It's a really elegant solution to a pretty complex problem.
All right, one last thing. So far, we've been talking about SIDs made for specific users and computers, but some SIDs are actually built right into the operating system itself. These are kind of the VIPs of the SID world, and they're universally recognized everywhere.
These are called well-known SIDs. They're basically a set of static, predefined identifiers for common accounts and groups, things like administrators or everyone. And what's wild is that their values are identical on every single Windows machine on the planet.
For instance, the SID S110 always means everyone. S1518 is the operating system itself, the local system account, and S1532544 will always refer to the local administrators group. Having these universal constants allows developers and admins to set permissions that they know will work everywhere, on any system, no matter what.
So, to wrap it all up, your username is really just a convenient label, a friendly mask. The security identifier, the SID, that's your true digital fingerprint. It's unique, it's permanent, and it's the invisible engine powering the entire Windows security apparatus, silently deciding everything you can and cannot do.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In a world where our digital lives are becoming more and more a part of our real ones, what does it mean to have a permanent, unchangeable identifier assigned to us by a system? I mean, it's the technical bedrock of security for sure, but it also makes you wonder about what identity truly means in our modern world.